afternoon and good evening to you, wherever in the world you are. Welcome again to TFH, the Full 100. Today being Tuesday the 28th, just to remind myself, Tuesday the 28th, yes it is, of April. The lockdown just merges one day into another. I literally got to put the date up in front of me to remind me. Welcome to TFH, guys. And I hope you're having a good week so far. Today's topic, guys, is one that brings up lots of emotions in our society, lots of people on one side or the other. And that's the topic of prisoners during this coronavirus. Our national press are not talking about it. Our public are not protesting for them because they seem to be getting treated like they don't matter. So I've taken on myself to bring the plight of prisoners to this platform. So guys, without further ado, let's get to it. I want to start, guys, by bringing the topic of how we're handling and how we're treating our prisoners in society. It's especially sad with countries like the US and the UK, because the US and the UK have the highest number of prisoners in any developed country. We have the highest, we have the harshest, and we have the highest. I saw on Jeremy Vine a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to play the video for you guys at some point in the show. But he had a phone in what people think that, there was an announcement about a week and a half ago that the UK government was going to start letting people out, some prisoners out. And it triggered a phone-in portion of Jeremy Vine on Channel 5. And it was, as you'd expect, 80, 20, 90% to 10%, 10% saying let them out, find something, save their lives, basically, save them, find a way to save them. You don't have to necessarily let them out. Build a camp so they can separate. Something, do something, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying let everybody out. However, you'll get my my take on it as the show progresses. However, it was 90% or 80% leave them in there. They commit an offense. So what, we're out here, we haven't done anything and we can die as well. And it was all that sentiment. And now I'm fed up of that sentiment, really, because the UK is a very stubborn country. Many states in the US have opened up, and including the shops that have been allowed to open up in the US, and marijuana selling shops, okay? Cannabis selling shops. So many states in the US, as tough-headed as they are, have, thank God they are sort of very much, the states are very much devolved, so they can make their own decisions. So you've got many states, like Washington State, many states have legalized cannabis. Canada's legalized cannabis. Many countries have legalized cannabis now. We're still there. No, it's still a what is it called? A Class C offense or a Class B offense. I know Gordon Brown and Tony Blair, under their management, I know we tried to sort of make it a class. I think we tried to make it Class D or C. Don't quote me on that. I'll have to come back to you guys on that. Yeah, I think we tried to make it Class C, and then it went back up to a Class B because of the noise from the right wing and the Daily Mails and the Sun. These are the same people that use cocaine and use the same cannabis every day. However, when they're sat on the desks, they become someone different. Michael Gove, a cocaine user, but yeah, he's in government saying, yeah, our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, cocaine user. These guys are still snorting cocaine in private. I'm telling you, 1000%. You think they stopped snorting cocaine, guys? So the UK is a very hypocritic society. You got your leaders will be seeing prostitutes and using cocaine on the side, and the very next day they'll be in the House of Commons berating someone in prison, saying how the drug dealers should be locked up and all this. But yeah, they spent money with a drug dealer the night before. It's time that we have adult conversations about these things. And I'm going to say this on this platform. It's time we give prisoners the vote. I'm not going to start that conversation at this end of the show. I'm going to have that conversation at the latter end of the show. Let me start, guys, by showing you guys some video clips of the plight of prisoners at the moment in the US. Please take a look.
Prisoners desperate for help as the coronavirus runs rife through American jails.
We look in the background. You see all of this? This is crazy. We just waiting to die here.
This shit fucking crazy, bro. These niggas in here, like, literally letting the nigga die, bro. Nah, they got this fucking law. It's called the CARE Act for niggas like me who not sick, right? So, they like laughing for real. You feel me? Because I went and talked to them. The CARE Act is for people who not a gang member, not a sexual offender, and not on death row. If you at risk of fucking catching this shit and dying, like 3 people I know already caught this shit and died, they can send you home on home confinement, right? So I went to talk to these motherfuckers to get on home confinement. They not gonna let us on home confinement. Why? Because they gotta make money off of us, because they not gonna make no money if we at home on home confinement. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in this bitch. You feel me? Give us in this bitch to die because we got felons and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all motherfuckers can social distance. We can't social distance. Like, look, there's a motherfucking white boy on top of me. You already know, like, I ain't racist or nothing, but, you know, the white boy, he dying. You know, he came in this motherfucker and got this motherfucker sick. And then it's like, they got these motherfuckers in here. They not taking them out until they die, you know? Like, we saw 2 months, well, now it's 3. And then it's like a gang of motherfuckers, they just took out this bitch, you feel me? Then they just hit us with these fucking monsters. But, you know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers literally croaking. I'm about to show y'all some more shit. Where they taking the dead bodies. They built a fucking, like a tent and shit. You feel me? Where they put the dead bodies at. And we just in this bitch. I'm about to show y'all in a minute. Hold on. I don't want to get the phone took or nothing, so y'all gotta just chill 1 second. Fucking dying and getting sick and shit. Like, this shit serious as fuck. Like, they literally leaving us in here to die. Like, you know, it's probably like 3 dudes I know already and shit. You feel me? Motherfucking, they took out this bitch dead that I literally knew and shit. The rest of these motherfuckers just sick as hell, you know? They talking about social distancing and shit. You feel me? Nigga can't even social distance or nothing, cause like, nigga, like, look at this shit. Hold on. This motherfucker over here, they talking about stay 6 feet from motherfuckers and shit. And look at this shit. This motherfucker over here. This motherfucker over here dying from corona. They got this motherfucker in my room and shit. You know what I'm saying? How the fuck I'm supposed to live? You know what I'm saying? Then they talking about stay 6 feet. Then they gave us these motherfucking masks and literally like said good luck. You feel me? Now right now I ain't got that shit. You feel me? But you know I got a motherfucking little light ass drug sense.
That's the plight of prisoners in the US at the moment. I know I've seen bits and pieces on Sky News. Jeremy Vine's show was more to, I believe, even though they pretended that they were talking about it, it was more a question, and they knew what they would get back. If I put a question out there now, I know what I'm going to get back. I'm going to get majority of people are going to say no. Why? Because we've been programmed to do this. We've been programmed to think that way. Do you know why we've been programmed to think that way? Because since the beginning of time, politicians have never campaigned to make prisons better. They've never campaigned to make reoffending better by making the lives and the afterlives of prisoners better. They've never had to run a campaign like that. The only campaigns they ever run is to lock him up. I'll give him more time. No, I'm going to give him more time. No, you're not going to give him more time. I'll give him more time. And the people are listening to that argument, and they're going for who will give them more time. That's the only conversation we ever have in this country, guys. I'm going to jump to, I got to say this, like I began to say about the news channels. Channel 4 is the only channel, really, that I think brought the story in the correct manner. However, having said that, it was sad to see not the context it was, but the surrounding news stories around it. And I'll explain what I mean by that, and then I'll show you the clip that I want to show you about the UK side of things, right? What I mean by this is this. I watched the whole news. The news was about an hour long. So at the beginning, they talked about nurses, and they talked about pensioners, they talked about the economy, yada, da, 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 the usual stuff. There wasn't a single black face, a single black story featured in all of those other normal conversations on the news story. Then they went to the special story about prisoners, which I still take my hat off to Channel 4 for doing, because it was done in the right way. It was bringing their plight to your attention. So that much was a tick from myself. However, when you look at the big picture, it's still the same thing we've been suffering. When you start talking about prisons and COVID-19, black faces are showing up. It's all about black faces. There wasn't a single white person, even though there are white people in prison, there wasn't a single white person who was speaking about their experience. So they didn't, the report seemed like it was about blacks again. So even though Channel 4 did what they could do, it would have been great to have seen a black doctor during that news story, the black doctor who saved many lives. Then they talked about the economy. Then they show a black businessman who they asked for his comment on it, not just all white people or white faces talking about their business antics and how it's affecting their businesses. A couple of black faces dotted in that 1 hour period of news story, talking about his experience, her experience about the bailout, how it's affecting their business. It would have been good to talk to some unemployed people who were black, some unemployed people who were white. It would have been good to talk to some black ministers, so that if you're in Middle England and you tune into the news, what you'll be watching would have been story of a representation of all of the ethnicities that we have in the UK, and then you would have got to the prison story and still see more diversity in that story. A few blacks, a few whites, a few Indians, not just blacks. So what I'm trying to say is this. A few days ago, when I done a show called when the world gets a flu, the ethnic minorities get pneumonia. I talked about the constant beating down of the black color, the black skin, the you know, when you talk about the whole news for an hour, we only featured when you talked about prisons. That's the sort of stuff I'm talking about. That's the sort of stuff that I want editors and producers of news programs to try and remember. When you go out to film these things, it's not just black people in prison. Yes, we know there are many more of them in prison in comparison to their percentages. However, it's not just all about them. So bear that in mind, please, those with the power to create these news stories. However, I still got to go back to the fact that Channel 4 did do their very best. So take a look at the UK view of this situation we're discussing today. Have a look.
Only represent 13% of the population. Earlier I spoke to Martin Luther King III, a lawyer and international human rights advocate who has followed in the footsteps of his father, Martin Luther King Jr., and I began by asking him about those haunting statistics in Siobhan Kennedy's report.
Well, it says that obviously our society is not focusing on those or our nation who are incarcerated. It is very tragic that we as a society can't focus on a number of things at once. Now, if you look at cities of Chicago, of Milwaukee, of New Orleans, where you have African-American populations, although the African-American populations are in the minority, and yet the coronavirus in terms of killing is over 60%. Something is clearly wrong.
There will be many.
And the UK, I have to say, a few weeks ago, I did hear that they were going to release prisoners. Let me just tell you some facts. Iran, even though Iran believes that this was a chemical weapon unleashed by the United States government, they're fake news, just like ours is about 5G and ours is about vaccines and Bill Gates and I saw another couple of them today talking about the Olympics, the pattern of the Olympics that was all in the plan. It was always coming while they dressed up in nurses' uniform. See, I told you so. So as much as we have a nutty, crazy fake news, in Iran, they believe America has unleashed this on them. I know you're going to laugh at that because you think your fake news is the real one, but they also think their fake news is the real one. But they released 54,000 prisoners, people. They released 54,000 prisoners. I showed you the clip of America. America's releasing those under even long-term prisoners who have got less than 18 months left on their sentence. They're being released to home arrest. You heard the fella in the clip talk about they were going to release them, and then they changed their mind now because they make money from having them in prison. And that's going to lead to another topic when we come back to discuss prison and prisoners again, because we will have this conversation again, because prisons are actually businesses now. In America, they've become businesses, and in the UK, they're turning into businesses. As long as we have that format or that mentality where we can justify taxpayers' money that costs, I don't know, from what I've heard, I think I'll put up 40-something thousand per person to keep in prison for a year. Sometimes we do that for somebody who's stolen less than £1,000 worth of goods. We've given them 18 months in prison, 2 years in prison, where they serve a year. And we're going to pay 43,000. However, the authorities or the companies who operate around the contracts given to that prisons give out to companies that support the prison system, when they look at those, they can see those companies will be paying them a lot of tax. So it justifies it in their minds, guys, to lock you up for and spend our tax money to the tune of 40,000, 50,000 pounds a year, because they, even though the taxpayer isn't getting the money that company is making, the tax man looks at it like, well, I'm going to get tax from this company. Or maybe they got a relative who has a share in the company. From what I gather, in the time when Theresa May was Home Secretary, her husband all of a sudden became a major player in G4S, I do believe. Don't quote me, I need to check that fact because it's just come up to my head. But from what I gather, you know, he becomes the CEO of the one of the chairman or a silent director in the company. And shortly after that, the Home Office has awarded, well, what the police used to do with public money is now being done by a private run company who pays shareholders' monies. Now, will that company want the prison numbers to go down? Hell no. Hell no. If your business depended on having customers every day come through your vans, and those customers just happen to be people that the police have sent to court and the courts have sent to prison, would you want the courts to cut down how many people are sent to prison? No, you wouldn't. That's the danger we're heading towards, which America is already living, and it's a living nightmare for people of color. So next I'm going to show you, next I'm going to read that. I'm going to show you the rules, the announcement, the headline announcement that the UK government made to say that they're going to be releasing prisoners, which of course hasn't panned out. Take a look. Right? Okay. And now this is the article that follows it. It says for the government to combat the spread of COVID-19 in jails in England and Wales, they have promised to release prisoners on release a number of prisoners on early release. The Justice Secretary Robert Buckland told the Commons that the released included pregnant prisoners and women in mother and baby units. The Ministry of Justice had said on the 4th of April that the prison service would free up to 4,000 prisoners who were within 2 months of the release date and had passed a risk assessment. 2 months. Although it helped in releasing the numbers, America is doing in your last 18 months, even if you're serving a life sentence. Okay? We're doing in the last 2 months. On the 15th, that was on the 4th of April, they announced that. And then on the 15th of April, about 2 weeks ago, the Justice Minister, Lucy Fraser, told MPs on the Justice Select Committee that a few hundred prisoners were set for release the next day. However, days later, the release scheme was temporarily suspended after 6 inmates were released wrongfully. So we announce that we're going to release some prisoners. We begin to release them. The system cocks up, the Home Office cocks up and releases the wrong people who hadn't been assessed. So then they call them back and shut down the whole thing. What sense does that make? You mess up, and because you mess up, you now think it's okay. Let them stay there for now until we get this thing right. Let them stay there for now. Let's not rush anything. So more people might die in there now because you've cocked up, and because you've cocked up, you don't want to replace. Guys, look, the reason prison is important is the reason we're talking about, the reason these many governments are releasing prisoners is to allow, when prisons have become overcrowded, we need to allow the space to allow them social distancing. You cannot have social distancing like you saw in the American video where you got 3-4 people, one person's in the room's got it, enough people have died in that same cell. Someone in that cell didn't have it. However, he sneaked a phone in, and now he can't taste and he can't smell, so he knows he's coming. He doesn't know if he's going to live or die. So thankfully, he had a phone and he was able to make this video. Unfortunately, I do not have any videos from people in prison in the UK, but I'm going to keep searching for one. And as soon as I have one, I'm going to put it on this platform so you guys can see. But guys, let me give you guys some figures why this is important, okay? In London, there are 13.3 people, black people, okay, in London. 13.3% of Londoners are black. And bear these numbers in mind, please. 13.3 Londoners are black. 3.5 from England, which includes Manchester and you name it, Oxford and all that, Birmingham, Liverpool. 3.5% only. So when you go to, in London, we're 13.3. When you spread it out from London to England, we shrink to only 3.5%. And then when you go to the UK, that's including Scotland and Northern Ireland, we shrink even further to only 3%. We're only 3% in this country. Guess what our prison population is as black people? 25%. 25%. A quarter of every prisoner is one of us, even though we're only 3% of the population. Guys, this really hurts. It really, really hurts because we're dying in droves in the community. And because the system's are very negative against us. Now there is an infection on prisons. Again, there's more of us are going to die. In the US, blacks are similar, 13% of the US population, okay? But they are 37%. So they're 13% of the country, but 37, nearly 40%, nearly 40%, yeah, of the population, nearly half of the population, prison population. Even though they're in 13, they're less than 15%. White males in US prisons are 32%. So with the number of overwhelming majority of white males in the society, in the country, there's only 32% of them in prison, while there's 37% of only 13% of the people. Hispanic males are 22%, okay? And black females are 22%. So if people are dying in droves in prisons in America, and people are dying in droves in prisons in the UK, who's that going to affect the most? Black people. Who's it affecting the most? 1 in 3 in the UK outside of prison who are passing from an ethnic minority. Not just black, but from the ethnic minority, which I'm telling you for a fact, blacks will be the most of it because that's the reports I've been hearing. So in the community, we're dying at a rate of 1 in every 3. In the US, they're dying at a rate of 1 in every 4. That's in the community. That's in the free world, outside world. Within the prisons, with those numbers so high, is it shocking when you see this guy film? These are things that the world press and the outside world will never know. That a prison on the basketball field has built a mortuary
got my nigga Don. This nigga was just fine as fuck. You feel me? He can't even breathe. I'm about to show y'all. Hey, I'm about to pull your cover up, Don. Show these motherfuckers. This motherfucker literally in this bitch dying, bro. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, bro. This shit serious as fuck, man. You know? Y'all gotta hit CNN. I don't give a fuck. You know, I ain't trying to die in this bitch. You feel me? I got a little under a year left. These niggas in here dying left and right. Right now, I'm clean. You feel me? I'm what's that shit called? COVID negative right now. You did, but you know, who knows how long this shit left. But I'm about to show y'all this tent shit real quick. This shit about to fuck y'all up. They literally taking dead bodies. They don't think niggas got. Damn, bro. They don't think motherfuckers got phones and shit in here, so you know I can show y'all this shit that's going on. How foul these motherfuckers is. You feel me? Hold on. There's a big tent y'all see on the basketball court. That tent right there. They literally putting the dead bodies in that motherfucker. That's what they doing.
Okay, a mortuary, because they're expecting bodies after bodies after bodies to be sent over to that mortuary, to that makeshift mortuary. Guys, is really getting diabolical. Our UK government, they need to do something. Look, I'm not suggesting for a minute that everybody should be let out of prison. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, this is a period that we're looking at everything. We've stopped enough to all of a sudden appreciate that it's not the millionaires and the banks that we need in our lives. It's the nurses and the doctors and the care workers and the bus drivers and the delivery drivers and the cleaners. We've stopped long enough to notice that now. All I'm urging is, let's use these times when it comes to these frontline workers. In my other video, I call for a new order, not a new world order, because I'm not talking about the world. I'm just talking about the UK. A new order in the UK where we elevate these people to where they deserve to be. Okay, where we raise their starting salaries. Okay, because they deserve it. Where a support worker, you know, since I spoke to you guys the other day, and I put my hand up, guess who I've got interviewing on Thursday this week? A support worker by the name of Eleanor. She's the first support worker I've ever placed in my whole career. I promise you, there's no point in lying. I've placed hundreds of nurses. I've placed hundreds of HCAs. I have never placed a support worker because I just didn't rate them. And if you go back to my video when I talked about the new order, okay, it's a 2-part video. Please refer back to it and have a look at those two, because I spoke about how I think the world should change. You see, since I made that video, I got a call to my agency about someone looking for a support worker. Now, in the past, I would have said, not me. Here's an agency that would do it. I put in the work, and the young lady is interviewing on Thursday. Now, is compared to a nurse's commission that I get for that, it's pittance. However, let's stop looking at things like that. This is a time to change how we look at things, how we look at people. This is a time to change how we've done things for thousands of years. Seeing as this is the first time in those thousands of years that everybody around the world is in the same boat, that everybody around the world is in the same battle, that everybody around the world has the same worry, has the same anxieties, have the same laws being put on them, have the same restrictions being put on themselves, as well as the government putting it on them. It's the first time that as a whole world community, we're actually experiencing the same thing. Which is why that video when I talked about the new order, sod the bankers, sod the politicians, sod the accountants, even though my wife is one, sod the stockbroker, sod these people. Let's remember that when times like these happen, how many stockbrokers did you go on phone in these times? How many people, how many bloody bankers did you phone, unless you're going there for the bailout? Okay, and the banks didn't bail you out. It's the government that bailed you out. The government bailed you out because they saw other people bailing you out. And when you do go to the bank's still making things difficult anyway. Do you see the nurses making things difficult for you? Or doctors? It's time to change our approach and how we see people. This is why it's so important that in these same times, I need to talk about giving prisoners the vote. It's time, guys. What politicians have been fooling the public with, right, by denying them the vote, is because they know the minute you give prisoners the vote is the minute they have to start looking properly at the prison issue. Why? Think about, let's say there was a prison in Reading, okay, in Berkshire. You're an MP, you're running for office, for parliament in Berkshire. You have a prison in your constituency that holds 700 people. You can win a vote by 700 people. You can win a vote by 4 people. Now, if you're running and the person who's campaigning against you is going to the prisons and promising them better education, better after prison facilities, better after prison care, we'll make sure we put in place a structure that helps every prisoner who comes out of prison get a job, which then causes less reoffending. If you're hearing your competition, who's running for the other party, going to that same prison, pitching his flipping ideas to inmates, and inmates are applauding him, won't you as a politician go there and try and do better than that guy? What does doing better than that guy mean? Doing better than that guy means promising better than the next person. Guys, it's time we give prisoners a vote. Because as long as their vote doesn't matter, this is what we're getting. Not just this. We're getting reoffending, which is leading to you and me getting upset because your house is broken into twice. You've been defrauded twice, 4 times, 5 times. You've been attacked or punched at a pub or whatever. So you've got a view of criminals or anybody who's in a courtroom for a criminal offense. You don't differentiate between someone who's there for trying to steal a piece of beef to feed his family to someone who goes into the same supermarket with a gun in their hand. As far as you're concerned, they're all the same people. They might both be trying to feed their families, but as far as your ordinary person is concerned, they're the same people. They're the same type of person, and they should all be locked up and throw the keys away. Guys, I am going to be calling for a prisoner's vote because it will do you and me a lot more good than what we got going for us at the moment. I know that in prisons there's no sort of aftercare. Do you know that in prisons you can't get higher than a level 2 NVQ? A level 2 NVQ is the highest, no matter how intelligent you are, the highest you can get to educate yourself. If you spend 5 years in prison, the highest you're going to get is a level 2 status. What job can a level 2 NVQ get you? Support worker that I was just talking about. That's what they have, level 1 or level 2. To even start to talk, you got to be a level 3 NVQ, which is really the bottom of qualifications, my people. You know this. So why is it we can expect prisoners to come out and find a better path where when they come out, we have no housing for them, we haven't lined up a job for them, to even try and see, let me test this guy out. Let me test you out. You keep talking about you're going to change your ways. Let me give you a little test. Here's a job that pays you £1,700 a month in take-home pay, which is low income, but livable, especially if you have a partner who maybe is earning similar. Then you can start to build a life. You can start to save. We don't try these things out with prisoners. We let them out with 45 or 60 quid. Make sure they got report to probation is the only thing we do. And then they come out after 5 years with no higher than a level 2. And you think they're going to have any kind of luck in making it straight. Compare that, flip that to the other side. They have the votes. I'm a politician running for the city of Cambridge. There's a prison in Cambridge that holds, let's say there's a couple of prisons in Cambridge. One holds 1,000 people, the other holds 800 people. You got 1,800 votes that you can campaign for. Both sides, all 3 politicians running for office in Cambridge will be sitting down for the first time in their lives, will be being forced to come up with genius moves, genius ideas that can stop people reoffending. As long as the politicians deny prisoners the votes, we're going to keep getting the same old stuff, people. If your house will keep getting broken into, your cars will keep getting broken into, your shops will keep getting robbed, because we are not equipping these people with what they need. Remember, we already failed them. Majority of the people in there were people we said to their parents, we know better than you. We're going to take your child away from you, and we're going to put your child under our genius care, our professional care. By the time these kids are 18, they're gangsters, they're drug dealers, they're everything that the poor parents could probably have avoided, given time. So again, we got to look at our care system, because our care system is a ready-made factory for churning out prison customers, prison clients. I call them clients because if a prison's a business, then care homes, care homes for children. If a prison was a business, like Tesco's, right? Tesco's buy their goods from farms. So farms supply them constantly with the eggs and milk and everything else, right? If a prison, my friend, was Tesco, who will be the biggest contributor to their what they stack on their shelves? The government, through people who brought up in the care system. So we already messed up these kids' lives by taking them away from the parents, then neglected them, didn't do the right job. They graduate into prison, and once they're in prison, we still don't even correct the mistakes we made when they were growing up. It's time to stop and rethink these policies, my friends. It's time to stop and rethink these policies. It's diabolical. We're dying in droves. Black people are more likely, and look at our court systems as well. You know, I've experienced situations where you have a white guy who goes up in front of a judge for theft, gets sent home to his mum, and a black kid comes up with the same thing. He gets put in youth custody. That needs to stop too, because that's the reason why we are 13.3% of London. Sorry, let me do the UK. That's the reason why we are 3% of the UK, but 25% of prisons. Come on. When are these figures really going to touch the nerve of our leaders? This is why I wish we had a Jacinda Ardern in our country, running our country. The next time we vote, we need a Jacinda Ardern just to fix these injustices that have remained in our lives for centuries and centuries and centuries. It's time we fix these. And as for prisons, the one bullet, the one pill that we can take to repair prisons, to get us thinking in the right way, to change people, to stop them reoffending, the one bullet that we can fire, or the one pill that we can take, is giving prisoners the vote. So from here on in, guys, I'm calling for prisoners to get the vote. Now, I know I'm going to get kickback. Listen to this guy on Jeremy Vine. Take a listen.
What's wrong with you lot? Listen, you know, if you've done a crime, now you've got to do the time. What is wrong with you lot? Listen, you know, if you were the victim of the criminal, wouldn't you? You'd be going, lock him up, give him the electric chair. Listen, you've done a crime, do the time. And let me tell you something else. I don't want your £80. You know these people who are whinging about, oh, we're struggling around because of the coronas. Listen, you should have had some backup funding. I don't want my 80% of my wages. Build a prison. Build another prison. Because you can knock these hospitals up as quick as both. Build another prison. Criminals, when this is all over, the big C, and God bless, we'll all survive it as for the minute I speak. Everyone will survive it now. Let me tell you something. Build some prisons. Because these low-line offences. Do you know how many 20 low-line offences make?
I
a
know.
big crime.
I know.
What
you're saying is, I understand that you don't go to jail for stealing a postage stamp. You're in jail because you've done 30 burglaries. You're absolutely right. So by that stage, there's nothing.
Now, I fully get that guy, where he's coming from. I would be like him as well if I wasn't fully well informed about this stuff. I appreciate that that's what you're going to get from Middle England. But if you watch that show, like I did on the day, that show was about 3 weeks ago. Maybe a little bit more. Or a little less. But I watched it. And There were fair-minded people who called in, because the one thing that guy is forgetting is that when you go to court, you're given a sentence. The sentence reflects your crime. So if you kill someone, you get a life sentence, and you might get recommended to serve 20 years of that life sentence if it's a straightforward killing. If you kill someone and raped them and cut their head off, you're not going to get a 20 rec. You're going to get a life sentence with maybe 30. If you kill someone, cut the head off, rape them, and then you kill the child who was in the house, you're going to get not 30 recommended. You're probably going to get whole life sentence, or you're going to get 45 recommended. So our judges give you the sentence based on your color for a fact. I wasn't even going to include that, but that's for fact, based on your color, number one, yeah? In the back of the mind, but you're not going to see on any form of guidance from Home Office or what the judge is all in here. But yeah, they're going to sentence you based on your color. They're going to sentence you based on the crime. However, we have no death penalty in England, Mr. Man, who called in Jeremy Vine. We have no death sentence in the UK. So why have we sentenced these people to die? That's what this guy is missing. These people went up to a judge. The judge gave them 2 years, gave them 15 months, gave them 4 years, gave them 7 years, gave them 10 years, gave them 12, 15 years, whatever. It didn't tell them they weren't going to come out alive. It didn't tell them they weren't going to come out alive. So just like you expect them to finish their sentence and not escape halfway through the sentence, then so should we be there to save them, because we didn't sentence them to death. Does that not make sense? Does that not make sense? That's all I'm saying. We didn't sentence them to death. So if we can start by releasing everybody who's serving under 2 years, if we can start with that, we ease a lot of tension, a lot of pressure. Because the main thing, if we can find an army barracks, a spacious army barracks, where they hold maybe army prisoners or military prisoners, right? Ease off the tension. Find a boat, a ship. What we need to do now is to have, not just, at the moment we have a cell there, a cell there, and a cell there. We have a cell that's made for one person is holding 3 people. Here that's made for one person is holding 3 people. This one that's made for one person is holding 3 people. You have 9 people within a few feet of each other. Okay, what I'm suggesting is let's ease off the pressure so we can have one person in this cell, close this cell down, another person in this cell, close the next one down, and another person in this cell. Space them out, and then let them out one at a time to feed. Put measures in quickly to save their lives. Okay? Don't just sit down and say, oh, well, we made a mistake and released 30-something odd people, and now we made that mistake. We can't afford to make that mistake again. Let's just leave them in there to die. You did not flipping sentence them to death, did you? You didn't give them a death sentence. The last I checked many of those. So why are you watching them die when you can avoid them from dying? The funny thing and the sad thing that really gets me is if one of these people have been sentenced to death and they caught this guy trying to hang himself, guess what they will do? They'll jump on the guy, cut the rope down, give him resuscitation, wake him back up, rush him off to hospital, keep him alive, bring him back to prison to face his death, his legal death, because he tried to escape by killing himself. He tried to die by escaping your death plans for him. So you got someone who's sentenced to death, tries to kill himself, you're going to save him. You got people who aren't sentenced to death, who are dying in droves, but yeah, you don't care. These are the things that need to change. These are the things that really gets me. These are the things why I'm so glad I've got this platform. These things need to change, my people. Vote for the prisoners to have the vote. It will make all of our lives better. You are not making the prisoners' lives better. You are only forcing the politicians to do something that they've never done in their lives, which is come up with smart, ingenious ways to appeal to the prison vote. And one of those things, many of those things that appeal to them, isn't the TVs in the cell, isn't to let them out to be with their girlfriends, is give us a future. Give us something to work towards when we come out of prison. Put structures in place so we don't reoffend, so we become real good members of society. That's what they will be begging for. Many people think giving them the vote means they're going to have carpets in the cell. They already got rugs in the cell. You can already order. The prison isn't giving it to them, but you can order rugs. You can order nice towels. You don't have to use the prison towels. You can order nice food and buy your food from outside and outside shopping and all of that. You already can do those things. Those things are not stopping them reoffending. What's going to bring our prison rate down is thinking of a new way to deal with prisoners while they're incarcerated. Sweden massively listen, their prison numbers are so small it's not even worth discussing. Denmark, Finland, these Nordic countries, their prison numbers are so low it will make you cry. And yet their crime level compared to ours is non-existent. Why is it the two harshest nations in the world, America and the US, when it comes to incarceration of ethnic people and everybody, the two harshest countries, the two countries with the most prison population in the developed world, why is it they're the two with the highest crime rate? Why is it that the death penalties in the US has never stopped people killing hundreds of people every day? Why? And yet places with no death penalty, they're not killing each other like that. These are the questions that you, the common man, you, the Middle England, you sitting on your sofa watching this, these are the questions we need to ask ourselves, because they're not telling you guys the truth. They know what it means if they flipping give prisoners the vote. It will force their hands to do something they've never done before. The people before them, no politician wants to think about something that the guy who had the office before him didn't have to think about. Well, let's force them to do that. I'm going to end the show, guys, by showing you one video that I believe is the solution, okay, to the cramped style. This is from Hong Kong, which Hong Kong, as you know, they got a lot of high-rise buildings, okay? And a lot of the high-rise buildings, the way people are packed, they're similar to prisons. So what they've invented in Hong Kong, I'll let you have a look at it. I'll play the video. Just have a look at it. And then you'll see how if we only care about people, the UK will go and order tons of these and give it to every cell to spray to the prison cleaners and all these people to keep people alive while you're deciding whether to let them out. Don't just not do anything. Do something. Save a life. Have a look at this video.
What they call MAP 1 could be a leg up in the fight against the novel coronavirus, and it's already in use around the city of Hong Kong. MAP 1's inventors at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology claim it can provide 90 days of significant protection against bacteria and viruses, including the one that causes COVID-19. It's not toxic and can be stuck on surfaces that are frequently touched, like elevator buttons or handrails. Professor Joseph Kwon is one of the lead researchers.
These are places that are frequently touched, and at the same time, they serve as very effective fomite or medium for transmission of diseases. So with that, the application of this product will be most effective in preventing transmission of diseases.
The research was a decade-long undertaking, but it found the coating that forms after a spray was effective in killing bacteria, viruses, and spores. MAP 1 works through millions of nano capsules that contain disinfectants. Unlike diluted bleach or alcohol, the coating also contains heat-sensitive compounds that release the disinfectant on human touch.
And when somebody touches on it, the polymer material can feel the temperature increase from the body heat, and they will open up and release the disinfectant. Now, once you remove your hand, they will close up, and thus conserving this disinfectant.
The coating was approved for official and mass consumer use in February and will hit Hong Kong stores in May this year. With help from a local charity, the non-toxic coating has already been sprayed around the homes of more than 1,000 low-income families in Hong Kong.
It's such a simple thing that if I see that that's a solution to prisons, how come a government minister can't see that? How come our press cannot see that? Right? Not many networks are talking about this at the moment. But please, guys, let's remember that these people are fathers, they're mothers. We just let out pregnant women, people having babies. Why do we have pregnant women in prison? Why are we not empathetic enough to understand for a woman to commit an offense while she's pregnant, there has to be some kind of crazy desperation. Find out what that desperation is and stop that desperation. And then support her to raise a better generation of a child that she's carrying in her stomach. Okay? Guys, that's in Hong Kong. So I'm urging my Prime Minister and my ministers and my secretaries of state to please, let's let these guys out. Iran's let 54,000 prisoners out. Okay? Let's let them out. Let's find a better way to handle prison as a whole. Let's put our frontline workers at the top of the food chain and bring politicians down a notch. Bring stockbrokers down a notch. Bring bankers down a notch. Bring all these people that we don't need. We're not needing them today. Let's put our care workers, our hospital workers, our hospital cleaners, our support workers, our nurses, our doctors. Let's put them at the top of society. And then let's give prisoners a vote so we can have a better, more rounded society, a peaceful one, a safer one. Less angry people. Less people like that Jeremy Vine caller who's angry. God knows what's happened to him in his life. However, if whoever's done something to him, if that guy had been given solid education in prison and given a solid job when he came out, I don't think that guy would have went through what the caller, I don't think that caller would have went through what he probably has gone through in terms of crime and being a victim of crime. Guys, I'm going to finish the video. Beautiful Tuesday. Enjoy your day today. Enjoy the week ahead. And I shall be back tomorrow. My topic tomorrow is Brexit, the battle between Brexit and COVID-19 and lockdown is starting very soon. I'm going to jump on it tomorrow and discuss that with you guys. In the meantime, enjoy yourselves. Please share. Separate yourselves from fake news. Don't let the fake news go past your phone. Kill it dead at your phone. I am seriously not joking. You might think you're not falling for it. You're just passing it on. But the next person who gets it might actually believe it. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
We know that prohibition doesn't work. We know that the sledgehammer to crack a nut, the demonization, the stigmatization, the criminalization just exacerbates the problem. The adult conversation would be, we know what doesn't work. Let's look at those dynamics that help change society, that take the oxygen from the gangs, that cure people, that make people understand all the different facets of drug taking, whether it's recreational or pharmaceutical.